Welcome back to Forced Induction TV. I'm Kyle, and this is Building Power, Stage by Stage, the series where we explore different engines and what it takes to build them into the legends we all love watching. Last time, we dissected Honda's K series, high revving, precision built, and all about finesse. But today, we're going full opposite. This is the LM75.3, the unkillable truck motor that accidentally became the most swapped engine on the planet. We're taking a junkyard long block and turning it into a 1,000 horsepower monster, one stage at a time. Why the LM7? The LS dynasty started with the LS1, the all-aluminum 5.7 in the C5 Corvette and 4th gen Camaro Z28. Lightweight, responsive, and the motor that started it all. Then came the LS2, 6 liters in the GTO and Trailblazer SS. Then the LS3, 6.2 liters, 430 horsepower in the C6 and 5th gen Camaro SS. On the truck side, the LQ4 and LQ9 are 6-liter iron blocks from HD trucks, Denali's, and Escalades. Torque monsters that love boost, but not quite as easy to find. The L33, the aluminum 5.3, is lighter but rare. And the LM7? It's the everyman's LS, the workhorse that showed the world just how far you can push cheap iron. Pull one from a junkyard clunker for 500 bucks, slap in a cam and a turbo, and you've got LS3 power for a fraction of the cost. That's why we start here. Stage 1, the baseline refresh. Every LM7 build starts the same way, a greasy long block and high hopes. Before we chase horsepower, we make it healthy. Step 1, a compression and leak down test. If you've got more than 10% leakage per cylinder, walk away. Step 2, refresh it. New head gaskets, intake and valve cover gaskets, rear main seal, timing chain, oil pump, and water pump. Cloys or GMLS2 timing chain, Melling high volume oil pump. Proven parts that don't cost a fortune. Once it's sealed, it's time for airflow. The stock truck intake is a choke artist above 5,500 RPM. So swap in a Trailblazer SS manifold or LS6 if you're cheap. Add long tube 1 3/4 inch headers and a real cold air intake that actually pulls cold air. Then tune it. HP tuners or a local dyno shop can clean up the VE table, add a couple degrees of timing, and richen it up at WOT. You're not breaking records here, figure 275 to 300 wheel horsepower, but it's smooth, responsive, and ready for abuse. Junkyard Jake pulled a 180,000 mile LM7 and made 292 wheel horsepower in a Fox body swap. 1,500 bucks all in. Not a bad way to have some fun. Stage 2, the cam swap. Stage 2 is where the LM7 wakes up. The factory cam was built for towing, not tearing up back roads. 190 degrees of intake duration and barely any lift. Swap in a real cam, a BTR Truck Norris, a Texas Speed Stage 2, or a Comp 54 46 911. Supporting mods are mandatory. Dual valve springs to keep it safe past 6,800 RPM, hardened 7.4-inch push rods, a 3-bolt cam gear and LS2 timing chain, and new lifters, Delphi or Johnson if you want to do it once. If you skipped the oil pump earlier, fix that here, then tune it. You'll pick up 60 to 85 wheel horsepower and torque everywhere. Boosted Boys ran a Stage 2 cam with stock heads and long tubes, 378 wheel horsepower and 400 plus torque. Choppy idle, instant throttle, and torque from 2,800 RPM on up. Plan on Stage 2 costing you $1,800 to $2,200 total. At this point, you've got about 3,500 bucks invested cumulatively, and your $500 junkyard motor just stopped being polite and is starting to get attention. Stage 3, fuel, cooling, and transmission support. Power's easy. Keeping it alive is harder. Once you're over 400 horsepower, the stock fuel system is maxed, and the transmission is living on borrowed time. Upgrade to 42-pound injectors, good for approximately 500 wheel horsepower on pump gas. Add a Walbro 450 pump and hot wire kit. If boost is coming, consider skipping straight to 80-pound injectors so you don't have to redo them later. The 4L60E dies around 350 foot-pounds of torque. Rebuild it with Sonax parts and a billet input shaft for $2,000, or swap to a 4L80E that'll take 800 plus. Want to row gears? A T56 Magnum or Tremec TKX will set you back around $3,000, but worth it. Don't forget cooling. Big dual-pass aluminum radiator, Spall fans, and a 10-row external oil cooler. Expect $2,000 to $3,000 for the upgrades, bringing your cumulative total to roughly $6,000. No extra power, but a foundation that's ready for 600 plus horsepower tomorrow without ending in a puddle. Stage 4, Boost. Now the fun begins. The stage that defines the LM7. The cast iron block laughs at Boost, which is why half the internet's favorite builds start here. We have the option of twins, single, or supercharger. Option A, a single 76mm turbo, something like an S475 or VS Racing 7875. Spools by 3,800 RPM and makes 550 to 620 wheel horsepower at 8 to 10 PSI on E85. Go up to a 78 or 80mm and you'll push 650 to 700 plus with a bit more lag. Option B, twin turbos. Two 58mm units, Borg S257s or VS 5855s. Spool quickly, build mid-range torque, and keep IATs lower for the street. Twins cost more plumbing time, but drive smoother than the monster blow dryers. Option C, supercharging. A ProCharger P1SC or Vortec V3 gives you instant response and a very different feel. You'll see 550 to 600 wheel horsepower with the right pulley and a good tune, and the torque curve is smoother than most turbo setups. But superchargers cost more and don't scale to 4-digit power as easily. Whatever route you take, supporting mods are everything. 80-pound injectors, a boost-referenced fuel pressure regulator, dual Walbro 450s, or a 525 if you're pushing E85, ARP head studs, Cometic MLS gaskets, and NGK 2309 plugs gapped tight. Add a wideband AFR gauge, oil pressure, and boost reference. Because at this point, you're tuning by data, not feel. A good example of what this stage can do is Cletus McFarlane's Leroy. That car started life with a Junkyard LM7. Slap on a 76 turbo pushing 8 PSI and you get 640 wheel horsepower and mid-11 seconds in a Corvette. No magic, just good fuel, smart timing, and airflow. Budget builds land around $4,500 to $6,000 for parts. But once you include shop time, dyno time, and supporting systems, expect to be in the $10,000 to $11,000 range cumulative. At this point, you're making nearly triple factory power, 600 plus wheel on a good day, with torque so violent it makes tires a consumable. On the street, this setup turns a Silverado or old Camaro into a monster. On E85, it's shockingly reliable as long as your tuner isn't reckless. Keep oil temps under control, watch IATs, and you can live at this level for years. Stage 5, the 1,000 horsepower build. Full send! The LM7 block is ready. The internals aren't. Time to go forged. Start with negative 22 cc dish pistons, H-beam rods, main studs, and a balanced crank. On the top end, go for ported 243/799 heads or TrickFlow 220s, a custom boost cam, pack springs, titanium retainers. For boost, think about twin 62mm turbos for 1,000 streetable horsepower or a single 80mm for 1,100 plus. Add 3-inch charge pipes, big air-to-air intercooler, 3-inch exhaust. On the fuel side, you'll likely need dual 525 pumps, 1,600 cubic centimeter injectors, return-style rails, and run E85 with meth injection. You'll also need control over the ECU with something like the Holley Terminator X or Dominator ECU for boost by gear and flex fuel adjustments. Motion Raceworks hit 1,087 wheel horsepower at 24 PSI on a factory block, running 9.8 at 142 miles per hour. Expect $9,000 to $12,000 in new parts and fabrication, putting your cumulative spend around $20,000 to $24,000. But here's the truth. Once you're chasing 4 digits, budgets stop mattering. You'll need upgraded driveline parts, standalone tuning hardware, better brakes, tires, maybe even a cage. It's not unusual for a 1,000 horsepower LM7 build to land north of $30,000 once everything's dialed. At this point, you're not building a street motor, you're running a program. It takes maintenance, data, and discipline to keep it alive. But when it's right, you've got supercar power from a motor that once had a tow haul button. Pretty cool. That's the roadmap. From a $500 junkyard pull to 1,000 wheel horsepower. The LM7 isn't the prettiest LS, but it's the one that made big power accessible to everyone. Plan smart, build right, and enjoy the drive. And if you like this breakdown, hit subscribe, because next we're going overseas to the Ford Barra, Australia's turbocharged inline-six legend that's been smoking V8s for decades. I'm Kyle, this is Forced Induction TV, and we'll see you on the dyno.